Limited Run Games has brought a ton of great titles into a physical form. We've got games like Octodad, Firewatch, Bastion, Golf Story, Celeste, the list goes on. Not to mention the Shantae games. Those are huge. But as limited run games gained popularity, people, publishers, and retailers started to notice. They did things like partnerships with special reserve games for things like Strafe and Shadow Warrior 2, putting out separate artwork and kind of like a collector's copy specifically at limited run games that you couldn't get at special reserve games. They also started doing things like partnerships with Best Buy. So if you go into a Best Buy today, you can usually grab a copy of a limited run game. It will not have the same artwork, but it's the same game. It's the same thing. To me, it loses that limited feeling. If I can go get it at a store, why should I pre-order it online through limited run? Wonder Boy is the prime example of what happened to limited run with retail. After the limited run release, they decided, hey, let's do another printing. They threw it in Best Buys and it sold great. With Wonder Boy doing so well, it solidified that, hey, we can take these limited games, throw them into retail, and we can make even more money. Now on the flip side, early on, a common complaint of limited run was the limited quantities. A lot of games would only have maybe 5,000 copies. For example, Firewatch I think was 7,500. People said that is too limited. Like, how am I supposed to get a copy if there's only 7,500? That all changed with Ys Origins. Ys Origins was the first limited run game that they said, hey, open pre-order, open for season. Let's go. Get as many copies out there as we can. Which is great in theory. That means there's a ton of copies. But it takes away the limited factor. They never really told us exactly how many copies is limited anymore. So if it's not limited anymore and just anyone can pre-order a copy, is it really limited run games? I mean, yes, it's nice. Anyone who wants a copy can get a copy. If you really just love physical games and you're like, hey, open pre-order, that's great. Now I can get it. But what about that turnaround time? So turnaround time is abysmal. These days, it's anywhere from 6 months to a year, like Scott Pilgrim up there, to get your game. What happened to the early days? Well, in the early days, they pre-printed the copies. And for example, you might have 5,000 out there. And they're all ready to ship out. It's just like, all right, let's have our sale and let's see which 5,000 people get them. But it's not the case anymore. We have open pre-order, which means they're going to wait to see how many copies they need before they even start production. So you better pray and just hope on a whim they don't have a setback. Spoiler alert, there's going to be a setback. Limited Run has turned into the Kickstarter of video games. This is Kickstarter run games. This is not limited run anymore. They are literally going to shovel as many copies as they can out the door as you will pre-order. They don't care. That's the bottom line. Everything is at the collector's expense at this point. They've also seemed to abandon quality for quantity at this point. We're shoveling titles out there without worrying about things like having all the patches built in, or if they need internet connection. This was supposed to be game preservation, not just shovelware. Maybe shovelware is the wrong term, but essentially just shoveling games at you without considering the full ramifications of everything they are doing. So what should you do as a consumer? It's time to abandon limited run games. I am not going to continue ordering from a company that doesn't care about me. Just go to the retailer, buy the copy. Go check out PlayAsia. They have copies. You can get a copy of Golf Story or Celeste cheaper than you're going to find on eBay. And yes, there is English options on a lot of these games that are sold internationally. There's no point in paying the limited run tax. At this point, they're a big time publisher. They're not a big time game preservation company anymore. They're just all about the money, and it's not quality anymore. Like, I love this copy of Swords of Ditto I have up here. The collector's edition has quality products. I have another video out there on my YouTube channel showing off the really cool collector's pieces you get in there versus the cardboard stands I'm gonna get when I open up my Scott Pilgrim vs. the World case. That's not quality. Not to mention it took forever to get here. I also love that some of these other companies, like Special Reserve, will actually put your number on the back of the box. Like I have number 13 out of 1,000. It's literally printed onto the cover art. I know what I have. I know how many there are. I don't know how many copies of Scott Pilgrim were made. I don't know how many copies of Quake or Haven. They don't put those out there anymore. They don't even leave the old numbers up on their website. You have to go really far back and dig in like the Wayback Machine just to figure out, hey, how many copies of Firewatch or Octodad did they print? Because they don't care about their website anymore. There's not even preservation on their own freaking website. So what about you? I want to know in the comments below. Are you ready to abandon Kickstarter run games? Because I'm ready to go. Let me know your thoughts and I will catch you next time. I've never done a rant video before. I feel like I just yell a lot.